We're learning Unit 2.1 under the Module 2 of Communicating Research Through Media. And learning Unit 2.1 is the Art and Science of Storytelling for Research Communication, crafting compelling narratives for diverse audiences in the digital age. Learning objectives by the end of this module. By the end of this module, you will be able to articulate the cognitive and communicative functions of narrative, analyze diverse audiences to tailor research stories effectively, apply advanced narrative structures to research findings, employ framing techniques to enhance narrative persuasion, navigate ethical considerations in research storytelling, evaluate the impact of research narratives on various stakeholders, develop a personal storytelling toolkit for ongoing communication. So the cognitive and communication power of narrative, the cognitive foundation of narrative storytelling is not merely an artistic or rhetorical device, but is deeply rooted in human cognition. Narratives align with how our brains process information. Causality, stories establish cause and effect relationships, mirroring how we understand the world. Temporality, stories unfold in a sequence, aiding memory and recall. Empathy, stories engage emotional centers in the brain, fostering connection. The multifaceted functions of a narrative. Narratives serve various crucial functions: sense making, knowledge transfer, persuasion, social cohesion. Researchers should recognize these functions to communicate effectively. Distinguishing narrative from exposition. The difference between storytelling, a narrative, and traditional academic writing and exposition. A narrative emphasizes characters, plot, setting, and emotional engagement. Exposition prioritizes logic, analysis, evidence, and objectivity. Researchers should learn to blend both approaches for effective communication. Cheat sheet, a table comparing narrative and exposition is in the next slide. So you look at that table, clearly distinguishing between narrative and exposition using the features: purpose, structure, tone, use of characters. Now, if you look at purpose and a narrative, to tell a story and engage the audience emotionally, that is a narrative. But for exposition, it is to explain or inform clearly and logically. For another feature, which is structure, for narrative, it follows a plot, beginning, middle, end. There's a particular format, steps. But for exposition, it is organized by logical flow, topic, detail, summary. Yeah. Then you look at tone, often emotional, dramatic, or personal. For exposition, it is neutral, objective, and factual. Use of characters. For narrative, it often includes characters and dialogue. Exposition rarely includes characters. Time orientation. For narrative, often chronological or nonlinear with flashbacks. Exposition less time-bound, more thematic or conceptual. Language features: figurative language, imagery, action verbs, that is for narrative. Exposition, clear definitions, topic, sentences, transitions. Reader engagement builds suspense and empathy. For exposition, builds understanding and clarity. Examples: for narrative, short stories, novels, personal anecdotes. For exposition, essays, reports, textbooks, technical writing. Yeah, so The researcher is a storyteller in the 21st century. Well, as a researcher, you are a storyteller. You tell a story about your research, about your findings. So the traditional role of the researcher is evolving. Doctoral researchers Doctoral researchers must embrace communication and storytelling as core competencies to bridge the gap between academia and the public, advocate for their research and its impact, engage with diverse stakeholders beyond their field, and promote scientific literacy and evidence-based decision making. Yeah, and now we move to shaping perceptions and influencing action, uh, where we say that shaping perceptions and influencing action, narratives can influence public perception of science and its impact. Yeah, framing research within a broader societal context, highlighting the human stories behind scientific discoveries, advocating for evidence-based policies and practices. Yeah, so research, yeah, or narratives can influence public perception of science through those three aspects that I've mentioned. Researchers can become powerful agents of change through effective storytelling. So you storytell, your findings to the audience. You make it attractive. You make it appealing. Yeah, you make it appealing so that it can influence perception or public perception of science, of your research, of your findings. Yeah. Then strategic storytelling for resource acquisition. Compelling narratives are essential for securing funding and resources. That is articulating the significance and potential impact of research, convincing funders of the value of investing in scientific endeavors, and building a strong case for support and collaboration. Researchers who can tell their story effectively are more likely to succeed. You convince through your story, convince through your proposal, convince funders through your proposal, through your research, so that they can be compelled, convinced to fund your research. Then a framework for strategic audience analysis. Effective storytelling requires a systematic approach to audience analysis. Researchers should consider the following key dimensions: demographics, psychographics, knowledge level, cultural background, information needs, decision-making context, and preferred media. Cheat sheet, a detailed audience analysis template is in the next slide. Now you see category guiding questions. Yeah, category is audience type guiding questions. Who are they? Yeah, who is your audience? Who are your audience? Yeah, are they policymakers? Are they the general public? Are they researchers? Are they students? It is important to understand who is your audience. Yeah, it will help you to understand how to disseminate that information, or how you take that story forth depending on the audience. Demographic, what is their age, education level, profession, location. This one can help you to know their experience in research, the experience in receiving information. Prior knowledge, how familiar are they with your research topic? Needs and expectations. Yeah, What are they looking for? What do they need to understand from your content? Preferred format. What formats do they engage with? Text, infographics, video, social media. Which ones are they comfortable with? Yeah. Cultural context, contextual factors, beliefs, values, regional factors. Or these ones can also have an implication, yeah, on their understanding. Level of detail required. Do they need a simplified summary or in-depth analysis? Yeah. Tone and language should be the tone be formal, conversational, inspirational, data driven. When you understand the audience, all these issues, you'll know how to handle them. Yeah. So it is important to be able to identify that, your audience analysis, able to identify who your audience are. Then we move to linguistic and tonal modulation for audience resonance. Language and tone are powerful tools for connecting with specific audiences. Researchers should strategically adjust, yeah, jargon, use of technical terminology judiciously, providing clear definitions or analogies for non-expert audiences. Use simple language to communicate your research or your findings. Formality, adapt the level of formality to align with the context and audience expectations. Formal for academic publications, informal for social media. So, depending on where are you disseminating this information? Yeah. Are you going to be very formal, informal, emotional tone? Employ appropriate emotional appeals, e.g., urgency, hope, curiosity, empathy, to enhance engagement while maintaining objectivity and avoiding sensationalism. Rhetorical devices utilize figures of speech, metaphors, analogies, anecdotes to make the narrative more vivid and memorable. So you be creative, come up with these devices, rhetorical devices, so that you can make it appealing, interesting, uh, because you want people to listen to you and to listen to your findings. Narrative as a tool for enhanced accessibility. Narratives can make complex research more accessible to non-experts, translating jargon into everyday language, using analogies and metaphors to explain abstract concepts, structuring information in a clear and engaging way. This is crucial for promoting public understanding of science. Yeah, so that is the importance of narrative. Driving engagement and interest through narrative, stories capture attention and spark curiosity, creating emotional connections with the audience, making research relevant to their lives and concerns, inspiring them to learn more and support scientific endeavors. Effective narratives combat empathy and disinterest in research. Yeah. So narratives can capture attention and spark curiosity. It is a way of it is creativity. It is a way of creativity just to make your research be accepted. People will want to listen to your research findings, yeah, through narratives because it makes it interesting, yeah. Then visual narrative strategies for audience engagement. Visual elements are not merely decorative, they are integral to effective narrative communication. Researchers should strategically incorporate images and graphics. Yeah, select high quality visuals that evoke emotions, illustrate complex concepts, and enhance memorability. Yeah, you see, this one will encourage people to, they want to listen. They want to listen because you're making it interesting, you're making it appealing. Data visualizations design clear, accurate, and compelling representations of data to support the narrative and facilitate understanding. Yeah. Video and animation explore the potential of dynamic media to create immersive experiences, demonstrate processes, and convey complex information in an engaging way. Yeah. So it is just making it more engaging, more appealing, more attractive. Yeah. So that you can engage the audience. You don't make it boring. This one will help you. The narrative strategies will help you to engage the audience to the end. Cross-cultural storytelling competencies. In an increasingly interconnected world, researchers must develop cross-cultural communication skills, Key considerations include cultural sensitivity, demonstrating awareness and respect for diverse cultural values, beliefs, and communication styles. Yeah. Linguistic adaptation, moving beyond simple translation to adapt idioms, metaphors, and cultural references for specific audiences. Ethical considerations, avoiding cultural appropriation, stereotypes, and misrepresentation, ensuring equitable representation and collaboration. So that is very important. Yeah, you need to consider that so that you don't end up with ethical issues. Yeah. Linguistic adaptation, moving beyond simple translation to adapt idioms, metaphors, and cultural references for specific audiences. Cultural sensitivity, demonstrating awareness and respect for diverse cultural values. It is very sensitive. Culture is very sensitive. So as you make your presentation, it is important to understand that. Respect diverse cultural values, beliefs, and communication styles. Yeah. Then, unearthing the narrative potential, research data and analytical findings form the raw materials for research narratives. Doctoral researchers must develop analytical and interpretive skills. Yeah, very important to identify patterns, trends, and anomalies within the data that can form the basis of a compelling plot. Select key findings that drive the narrative forward and contribute to the central message. Frame data in a way that highlights its significance, relevance, and potential impact for the intended audience. This involves a shift from descriptive reporting to persuasive storytelling. Yeah, it is not just about reporting. Yeah, persuade the audience that actually what you want to put forth is important. Yeah, should be accepted. Yeah, the classic the classic narrative arc, a versatile framework. The classic narrative arc provides a foundational and versatile structure for research stories, exposition, introduce the background context, key concepts, and relevant prior research to establish the setting and characters. Very important. Yeah, you must set the pace. Yeah, you must set the pace. Rising action, develop the central research problem, question, or hypothesis, creating tension and intrigue. Yeah. Climax, present the core research findings as the resolution of the narrative tension, answering the central question. Falling action, explain the implications of the findings, their significance for the field, and potential limitations. Then resolution, offer a concluding statement that summarizes the key takeaway and provide a sense of closure. The problem solution narrative, addressing a research gap. The structure is particularly effective for research that aims to solve a specific problem or knowledge gap. Problem is clearly define the problem, its significance, its consequences, and the existing gaps in knowledge. Solution, position the research as a potential solution, a crucial step towards a solution, or a novel approach to the problem. Yeah, because the objective, the intention, yeah, is that you want your research to give a solution, a novel approach to the problem. So that one must be very clear. Evidence support the proposed solution with relevant findings, data, and analysis, emphasizing the strength of the evidence. The benefits emphasize the potential advantages, positive outcomes, and practical applications of implementing the solution. Very important. The journey of discovery, highlighting the research process. The structure shifts the focus from the findings to the research process itself, highlighting the researcher's journey. Question. Begin with the initial research question, curiosity or motivation that sparked the investigation, emphasizing its importance. Yeah. Exploration. Describe the methods employed, challenges encountered, critical decisions made, and unexpected twists or turns in the research. Breakthroughs. Highlight any significant discoveries, insights, or methodological innovations that arose during the research. Insights. Share the key lessons learned from the research experience, both in terms of findings and the broader implications of the process. The impact narrative showcasing real-world relevance. The structure is ideal for demonstrating the value and significance of research for society, policy, or specific fields. Yeah. Context: establish the current state of affairs, highlighting the societal or disciplinary need for the research and its urgency. Yeah. Need: articulate the specific gap or challenge that the research addresses and its potential transformative impact. Findings: present the research findings that contribute to the desired positive impact, emphasizing their novelty and significance. Outcomes: emphasize the potential benefits, applications, and transformative consequences of the research for the target audience and beyond.